Hi everyone, it's Jen here and welcome to Jen's World About Art and welcome back to Drawsome. So today's Drawsome prompt is leaves and I wanted to draw my favourite leaves, so I'm going to draw and paint for you some Australian gum leaves. So they're a eucalypt. We've got them growing all around our farm, so I just went out the back, picked up a few leaves and thought I would paint these for you and show you the wet in wet watercolour technique. So I'll continue on with the drawing, get everything as close to the real life leaves as I can get them, and then I'll start to add watercolour. So I'm starting with the watercolour now, and I'm going to go in with a very diluted sap green, and I'm going to take that across the first two leaves. I'll sort of fill them in just very wet, and while it's still wet I'm going to go in with a mixture of olive green with a little bit of cobalt blue, and it just makes it that gum leaf sort of blue-green colour that I really love. So you can see that's flooding around and going into the wet underlayer. Now I start on the second leaf. I add the sap green in there, very wet. As you can see, the paper's quite soaked where I put that first layer of sap green. And then while it's still wet, I go over the top with the same mixture of olive green and cobalt blue to make that blue-green. So the stems on these are a reddish brown, and they've also got little reddish brown marks on the leaves. So I pop those in again while the paint's still wet on the leaves. I pop those little red dots in, which is Indian red. Take those around there, and then I do exactly the same for the other leaves. I go in with the sap green first, wet the paper thoroughly with that first layer, then I go in with my cobalt blue and olive green, and then I add the Indian red while it's all still wet, just to create those lovely patterns and textures on the leaves. And I do that for all of the leaves. Now I start to work on the stem as well, so I'm just using that first diluted mix of Indian red, and then I'll go over it with a stronger, less water, more pigment Indian red onto the darker side, the shadow side of the stem. And then I will also add a little touch of mahogany brown to the darkest side of the stems, just to add some more three-dimensional sort of depth to it. And I take that around the edges of the stems, and then I'll also add a little bit of that Indian red to the edges of the leaves, because they do get quite a little burnt red look around the edges of the leaves. I'm dropping some yellow ochre in right now because it's a very pale sort of marks on the leaves also. So I pop that in with a little touch of yellow ochre, just in random sort of spots. And then I take the centre of the ribs of the leaf, I make that a light green, so I pop that in, and then I go around the edge of the leaves with a mixture of Indian red with a teeny tiny little bit of mahogany brown, just to make it a little bit darker, and I take that around the edges of the leaves, because the edges of these leaves do have sort of a turned up little reddy brown tinge to them, and they're quite rough around the edges. So pop that all in, go around the little scarred parts on the leaves. So as you can see, this is a simple, fun painting. I'd love you guys to give it a go. Yep, nice and easy to do leaves, and you can create some beautiful artwork. So I'll have a link below to my friend Aurora. We do drawsome together, and you can see what she's created for this piece. Yeah, have an awesome day. I will see you all for the next video. Have an awesome day, and I'll catch you then. Okie doke.